Okay, the first thing I'm going to just start off with is the formation. Everything starts with this 2 tight end set, 2 back set. Our corner up top, you can see, is pressed. Talking our pressed alignment. The first thing I want to say is the ball is right there, so he could press a little bit more than he is, I would hope. Okay, corners get scared, they get nervous. The first thing I talk about is there's a referee up here. Okay, he is not just for the offense. He works for both sides. We coach our corners to talk to that guy and say, hey, am I on or off? They always talk to the offensive player, and they actually even signal saying, hey, you're off, you're on. And we want to have the same help as a defensive player. So we want to talk to him, hey, am I on? Am I off? We want to press and get as much of that line of scrimmage as we can. So I would like Johnny Adams here. He's got probably another 6 to 8 inches that he could get on line of scrimmage, and pretty much his toe and his face mask should be hugging the line of scrimmage. He's pressed. Our other corner here down at the bottom is not pressed. He's got no number 1 receiver. Okay, his number 1 receiver is right there. So if he would detach, he could press up on that guy. Anytime we have a closed set, we'll be playing some type of cover 2 coverage over to this side. So when we talk quarters coverage, the first thing is we are playing quarters here. Okay, he's playing quarters. That means they pretty much have their quarters of the field if they go vertical. Over here, we're not going to play quarters. He's going to play cover 2 now, so we're going to play a 2 shell, and he'll play in a half a field drop. So he's got half, he's got quarter, okay? And again, I always like to start off from that formation so you can understand exactly what's going. Again, do we see a ton of this formation? No. As soon as that guy detached, we're into playing our true quarters coverage from base. The next thing I want to understand here is our receiver, where his alignment is. We do a great job of understanding what an offense is trying to do to you, where the receivers are lined up. He's lined up what we call on the divider, in between the hash and the top of the numbers. And what I want you to, the reason I put this clip on here is he's going to run the favorite route, which I hope you know what we're going to see is a fade. Okay, we have our corner in here, one of our young corners in here. But the one thing you talk about bubble and a release, as you watch this receiver run his route, because we're on him, he's got to run around him. Okay, you can see he approaches the corner and then he works right around him and up the sideline. But where he starts off here in between the hash and the numbers, and where he ends at the bottom of the numbers is a long way. Okay, and he's 2 yards to the bottom numbers. And then if you can notice where the quarterback ends up putting the ball and where it ends up landing is probably, 3 or 4 yards on top of the numbers. So again, talking about the disruption, okay, even though the corner doesn't do a great job of getting hands on, and it's never perfect. We're, myself and Coach Barnett are never, saying, man, I don't think it could be done any better. We're always looking for perfection at every position, especially the corner position. But again, corner's doing a pretty good job. He ends up getting in perfect phase right there. That's called phase. Okay, he's in a position where he can make a play on the ball. If the quarterback does throw a good ball, we hope we get a pick there. But again, the quarterback, is throwing it where he thought maybe, with their timing that they had during the week, that it was going to be where his receiver is going to be, and he's not there. Okay. Looking again, this safety's job is to key off of number 2. If number 2 would go vertical, he's got him. Okay, and we're playing halves coverage over here, just straight cover 2, and we don't need to talk about that. Our linebackers underneath are playing run. Okay, they get run fake. You can see they're allowed to get sucked up into the line of scrimmage. That is not a problem. Okay, a lot of defenses, hey, don't get sucked up because we got to get depth. We're not playing a true drop coverage all over the place. Although this linebacker here should be getting probably a little bit more depth there, okay? But we want him to get sucked up in the line of scrimmage. We want him to play the run, okay? As soon as pass shows, then they got to match off of the receivers. As this whole formation takes place right there, again, that's the number 1 receiver. That's the number 2 receiver, okay? That's the number 3 receiver. That's the number 1 receiver. That's the number 2 receiver. You can see this is a one-man route, okay? If these guys all stand in here, okay, and eat cheeseburgers, okay, these guys can hang down here and eat cheeseburgers with them and get some fries, okay? There's nobody to cover. We're going to stay low. If anybody were to screen, Y screen, T screen, F screen, we should be down in on that stuff. Safety's not going to do a lot of help on a fade. That's why we'll see fades, okay? Safety's not going to help it. And again, low percentage throw, and we'll let them have those all day long.